Sears, Toys R Us, Blockbuster, the lowly typewriter repair person. What do they all have in common? They're not here, right? The market changed and they didn't. We've never been at a more exciting time in this industry, but it isn't for the faint of heart. The riskiest strategy today is to play it safe. Now, as you sit and listen to me and go through this 10-minute presentation, I want you to think about your business. If you're in a small market, my one-word advice to you is partner. Partner with as many people, as many organizations as you can to get as much information as possible on how to fix today and tomorrow's vehicles. If you're in a major metropolitan market, you have a single location. The single word you need to remember is specialize. And if you're in a major metropolitan market and you have more than one location, you need to be thinking about diversification. I believe, and I'm not alone in this, that the next 5 to 10 years in the automotive industry will be the most significant we've ever seen in our lifetime and the most significant since the dawn of the automobile. And let me explain why. You're going to see changes in a number of different areas. For most, we already understand the fact that these cars are being built differently today. Just even the internal combustion engine vehicles being built differently, let alone what we're seeing with the advent of electric vehicles. So not only are you seeing the addition of high-strength steel and new composites, but when you add in and layer in the level of technology going into today's vehicles, you understand that they are truly more of a computer than a vehicle at this point. In terms of how they're operated, it's an interesting question. How many people think autonomous cars will not happen in their lifetime? How many think it's just around the corner? So I believe the answer is both. I was in an autonomous vehicle between my hotel and one of the convention centers here, and it didn't scare me. It worked as designed. It's not an issue. Low traffic, geofenced vehicles with predetermined stops, it's here today. The idea of falling asleep in the backseat of a car going across the country, probably not in my lifetime, not with all the variables that are involved. But the point is, these things are being operated differently. And the cost and effort that's being put into this is staggering. You're seeing differences in the way cars are owned. How many are aware of these subscription programs where you pay a flat fee and everything's included, insurance, maintenance, all those activities? I was on that program, been on it for over a year now. It's amazing. It works. It's fantastic. And guess what? I'm sitting next to a guy that sells tires, and I told him, I'm no longer your customer. And he said, what do you mean? He said, I'm done buying tires. I'm done spending 4 hours of my day shopping for him, having him shipped to an installer, going, sitting, reading magazines that are 6 months out of date, and hoping that it gets done at a cost-effective price. That is changing the landscape. Uber, Lyft, all these different business models. When you think about that, think about how it applies to your business. How is that going to change who you do business for in the future? And what are the requirements for folks that are operating a subscription model, operating a ride-sharing services model? The common element between all those is they need those vehicles burning gas, right? You're going to see more and more emphasis being put on cycle time and fleet utilization. You're also going to see a renewed interest in quality and making sure those cars are safe. If you take a look at it, companies like Uber are now challenging the existing car manufacturers in terms of their market caps and what they're worth. Finally, you're seeing differences in how cars are powered. I love folks that say, electric cars are a niche product and, internal combustion engines will be here for many, many years to come. Rivian. How many in the room have heard of Rivian? I asked a colleague of mine, I said, why is it Ford invested $500 million in Rivian, the manufacturer of electric pickup trucks? Ford has the best-selling pickup truck in the country, and they make electric vehicles. Rivian has yet to produce its first production version. And the answer I got was, it was simple, but it illustrated the point. Bill Ford understood that his organization wakes up every day thinking about how cars have been built really for the last 40, 50 years. They don't think about it with a clean sheet of paper. Rivian started with a clean sheet of paper. battery pack, a computer, and a steering wheel. It's a very simple design. They didn't start with a CAN bus architecture. They did not over-engineer this thing. It is a very simple automobile. The same thing you and I built in 8th grade science class. That's the Rivian. Here it is. Amazon put $750 million in that organization. Cox Automotive just put $350 million in that organization. And then shortly after, Amazon orders 100,000 of these vehicles. So my point is, look, 100,000 vehicles in a car pool of 250 million isn't a big number. I'm not advocating anybody stop what they're doing today and suddenly decide electric cars is going to be their future and that's where they're going to spend their time and energy fixing them. But my point is, if you're not thinking about and doing it today, if you're not thinking about trying to get certified by a manufacturer, specializing in a certain type of repair, if you've defined your business as collision and you realize this collision avoidance technology is going to reduce collisions, you by definition have limited your market and have decided you're going to go and circle with everybody else as this thing shrinks in size. So where is the market going to be in the future? Well, if these cars are going to be utilized at a much higher rate, which is really the plan of these subscription programs and Lyft and everything else, you want to be in the maintenance business. You want to be in the support business, the repairability business. You want to be thinking about how do you keep those cars, those vehicles, up and running for those asset owners, which may not be even a vehicle owner in the future. It may be a corporation. It may be a fleet operator. It may be a company like Uber or Lyft or Waymo. You need to be thinking about where are they, or Rivian, where are these folks? Rivian's not going to go through dealerships, by the way. They've decided they're going to follow the same model as the friends at Tesla, and they're going to do it on a subscription basis. You won't even buy a Rivian. You'll pay a fee, you get the vehicle, and all the things that go with it. But where do those things go when they go wrong? I'm not talking when they get hit in a car accident. I'm saying, where do they go when they go wrong? What happens when they have rodent damage? What happens? Think about electronics and the lifespan of electronics. Electronics might average, 3-4 years? Well, these cars aren't getting any cheaper, and the likelihood of a car being disposable in 3 years likely is not going to happen. So there's a vested interest in making this technology on today's vehicles last longer. So think about your business. If you're not thinking about how you become Geek Squad, how you become proficient in fixing today's technology on today's vehicles, quite honestly, you'll be relegated to a paint and body operation. So why focus, what we call it, on the A shops? You've seen this inverse pyramid or the idea of it going to an hourglass. If you're in the middle of the market, if you are what we class as a B or C shop, you're not the best of the best, you're not the largest, but you're also not focused on just doing customer pay work, my view is you have a very limited future. And I'm not saying that to scare you or to upset you. It's just the truth. The truth is you either have to go big or you have to decide you're not going to work on today's cars. And by the way, the customer pay market, as much as people look down on it, that is going to be a huge growth segment in the future, right? By the time you get to that second and third owner and it's out of collision coverage and they want that thing to be operable, for many years to come, that is going to be a growing segment. And if you specialize in it, you'll make a lot of money. But most folks want to focus on the front end. They want to be there on the newer vehicles. So, again, I'd recommend you highly focus on either fewer manufacturers, fewer systems, or start to partner with those in your market that have certain capabilities that you don't have, whether it's a mechanical shop down the street, whether it's a dealership group that can help you supplement some things you need to do around ADAS. Well, my point's simply this. If you think that you can wake up tomorrow and do what you've been doing and stay in business in the next 5 to 10 years, I hate to say it, but you're sorely mistaken. This industry is changing rapidly. I'm excited. I've never been more excited about it in my life. For the folks here in the room, you already get it. I'm speaking to the choir. But understand there's many out there that think all this is going to blow over, right? It's going to get easier. It's just a few tough weeks, years, and months that they've been going through. I'm here to tell you, for those that are willing to change and change rapidly, the future is very, very bright. My name's Doug Kelly. I'm with asTech. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.